Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I'm Rick Plaskett, a certified business and leadership coach here in Ohio, and today my guest is Tom Lawrence. He is from Cleveland, and he is the owner and founder of GPI Designs. Today, we're going to talk to him about his business, a little bit about some of the challenges he may have, best practices, share a peek into what it's really like to build and operate a business. And oh, by the way, Tom's been doing this for 3 decades, so he's got a little bit of experience to share with us. If this is your first time on the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we have future conversations. Tom, welcome and thank you for being here today.
Hey, Rick. Nice to be here. It's good to be on Business Spotlight.
Yeah, 30 plus years. And you were sharing with me that you have some of your original hires with you that started with you. That is going to be an important thing to talk about. If you could start us off and let the audience know a little bit of overview of your background and tell us a little bit about the business that you do.
Sure. Thanks. So GPI Design is a full turnkey provider of commercial features. So we create features for spaces like commercial interiors, lobbies, bars, restaurants. We do a lot of hospitality work. We also do a lot of healthcare work. Areas that owners are looking to make a statement, try to differentiate their space from others. So you may have seen it, Rick, in Class A lobby space and elevators, sometimes in the elevator cab itself, with higher finishes, elevator lobbies. We do an awful lot of lobbies and restaurant walls, columns, floors, ceilings. Anywhere that you're looking to make a statement, try to bring some of the biophilic feel into the space, which of course, a lot of the backlit features that we use are natural materials like wood and stone. So we make a product that the stone is laminated to glass. It's thinner. It allows it to be much more luminescent. Less seams, so you're seeing more of what Mother Nature intended in the beauty of those things. And when we add our backlighting, it creates quite an impression and quite a feature, which our owners and our designers and lighting designers that we've worked with have continued to come back to us to bring that biophilic or even just, casual ambiance into a space. So yeah.
Super. Thank you so much. Hey, Tom, what is the current ownership structure of GPI Designs?
Yeah, I own GPI Design. I started the company roughly 30 years ago. We've shifted a bit. Back when we started, I was sourcing natural stone and what's called cut to size. So we actually take plans from a stone supplier, an installer, and we create the tickets, if you will, of all of the parts and pieces that would go into building that wall or that floor. And they're numbered and they're sequential. So it's called cut to size because it's really the folks are buying a kit from us to put together. Again, this predates backlighting, but in natural stone, that's very typical. You're either supplying blocks, slabs, or cut to size work, which is also called dimensional stone. So you might hear me call it dimensional stone. But back in the day, that's really all I was doing. We shifted a bit towards exotics, which would be considered, like an alabaster, an onyx, a quartz type product, natural quartz type product. Those materials are used in backlighting. We didn't know that at the time. We were just often asked to provide a translucent onyx. These are very difficult to find materials. And for, like I said, almost 30 plus years now, I've been supplying natural stone materials, and we've been focusing in the last 20 years on translucent exotics.
Awesome. 30 years, what's your current role that you play in the business today?
Yeah, so I'd say facilitator. We have a lot of talented designers. We have a lot of talented, that's lighting designers. We have interior designers, and we have engineers here. So we run the gamut between the left to the right brain in our facility here. So maybe I'm moving a little too far forward, or you haven't gotten to the question of what we're actually doing here. But our engineers they're building structural systems that will hold these lit stones or lit glass or lit art to a wall, to a ceiling, to a floor. So our structural guys have to, meet with our interior designers and make sure that what is possible can actually be designed. And then our interior designers are working with our lighting designers to ensure that the lighting cavity and, let's say, the space that's provided for wire management and the lighting element has its room. So what I'm doing generally here is just trying to coach those guys up. These are talented people. They don't generally need my help with design, but I've been building these environments for almost 30 years, and our install team is led by me. And we will come into the meeting usually late after the structure and the lighting design cavity and the surface has been designed to ensure that it's buildable. So we'll talk more about the turnkey aspect of what we do and what we offer our clients later. But to answer your question specifically, I guide the process. Really haven't. I used to be, our face in front of designers and architects and making, let's say, sales calls or providing samples and getting out there to get our name known. But I'd say in the last 15 years, we've won some awards. We've gotten some accolades by industry publications over our expertise in creating these specialty features. So I haven't really had to make a sales call in a while. Our website explains what we do pretty well. I think it establishes us as the professionals to go to if a designer is looking for that service. So it used to be sales and guidance. Now it's just guidance.
Great, Tom. When you look at that guidance, and I can hear the passion of an engineer. I myself am a former engineer, so I'm just listening to everything and imagining what your mind is going and where it's going. On an average day, average week, and within the business, how would you break down the percentage time that you're working the job, the nuts and bolts of each of the projects, versus the time that you're looking to the future, the strategy and the future potential customers or potential target audiences?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it's more and more for us here. The busier that we get, the more that I'm called to be in the field. Frankly, I love the construction side of the business. We have a saying here called it starts with yes, because a lot of what we're asked to do by lighting designers or interior designers and architects is there's no blueprint for this stuff. Everything we do is custom, but their environments are always different. So it's nothing that we order or comes off the shelf. We have to actually dream it up and create it and engineer it and design it. And so that's kind of on cruise control because we have a talented teams that do that here without my help. I'm usually involved early in the process, and then it kind of gets handed off to them while I'm out in the field ensuring that our installs are going as planned and they finish on time and they pass the punch list and everybody's happy. In the meantime, we're designing 2 or 3 other projects, and then I come back usually and sit in on those meetings. So it's changed from where I was out into the field and bringing information back. I was involved more in the design and engineering process and in the install. And then I would try to find time to break away when we were in that particular city and meet with architects and designers. So because we're booked out almost into spring of 2027 right now, and things are really have been really great for us recently. And so I don't spend any more time in the field with the sales, and I certainly don't spend a heck of a lot of time slowing down my designers in here with all my brilliant ideas. So they know where they're going. I get involved when we get to pre-construction. I'm usually on site, creating, making sure that we get the job done on time. So where I see it changing, that's a great question because, there's times here when I sit with my team and we try to kind of figure out, how are we going to sustain this type of growth in the next 10 years? Because I'll tell you, Rick, it's really great. Again, I think because of some of the jobs that we've done, that we've been rewarded some accolades on. Architects and designers, they need to trust who they bring to the table. And when they bring forward someone that's going to create the structural system and lighting system to this dream that the homeowner or the lighting designer architect has presented to them, there's significant risk there because we're really like 3 trades. And when we bring a solution, to the table there, we're usually surprising some folks as to what we can do, but how long it's going to take. So there's a long duration between the time at which you dream it up and say, yes, we think we can do that. And then we dream it up, draw it up, and show it to our clients and say, in fact, this can be built. Then we start sourcing material and creating all these custom parts. So it's a long process. But I think it's changing for the better. You know, what we're getting more folks on staff here. I know with the more projects we have, you know, 2 designers, 2 engineers working on each project. So that's getting to be a little bit more, let's call it an organized circus. And we just need more bodies. We need more talent. What we do is kind of special because you need to know a little bit about lighting when you're designing the structure, and you need to know a little bit about structure when you're designing the surface and the lighting. So our teams, while they're holding hands out there, we just need more hands. We just need more people. And frankly, my role on being on job sites can be replaced by let's say a crafty veteran construction manager, someone that knows a thing or two about structure, that knows a thing or two about lighting. They certainly know how to manage, let's say, a Gantt chart or the management construction protocol that most of these large GCs use. But it takes a confident individual because we're covering a lot of scope. But I'm finding those folks, and I'd say that has been the challenge, to find somebody that's willing to travel. All of our work is outside of Cleveland. We've been in business. We've been creating these features for 20 years, and we've got 5 in the state of Ohio. So we've worked internationally. I think we've worked in almost 30 some countries. We're in about 20 states here in the US. But the travel can get extensive, and we need a guy that's able to get out there, travel, manage the team, manage getting the project done, packing up and coming back home and grabbing a ticket for the next project. That is something that I have done personally. I'm glad to hear that you hear the passion in my voice, because I'll tell you, there's nothing better than getting a job completed and seeing your clients that are just blown away by it, because in the end, they weren't even sure it was possible. So those are really rewarding moments for me and for my team. But I think the future will hold having more folks do that in the field for me, and then have me turn my focus back to just like the relationship building. I won't call it sales, but the time in which we're talking with teams as to what can be created, that creative process is something I always love to do. And I love to communicate the message that they're in good hands if they come with GPI, that we can build that dream for them. We've got the history that shows it. We've got some trophies and awards behind us now. And I think I carry that message forward pretty well. I don't know if that's anything I would ever place in anybody's hands. Right now, I think if we can separate project management duties to, let's say, more of the client management, I think that's where the future is for me personally.
Yeah. Never should the owner give away what they love to do in the business. That's why it's your business. That's why you've run it for 30 years.
Yeah.
If we could look at the next 10 years, I want to ask a series of questions there, but I want to start little and then grow up to what do you see the business in the next 10 years? But let's start off with, and I think I know this, if your value is it starts with yes, what's your approach to goal setting?
Yeah. Well, so goal setting is interesting here because, I do not micromanage. And what's interesting is that we really have 3 separate companies here. We have an engineer team, as I've mentioned before, that handles structure. When they're done with the structural part, they hand it to the design team. The design team then goes on and creates its own off its own platform, all of their steps for goals. So all I've asked for, and again, this is something that I've implemented maybe in the last 5 years, is just a weekly goal sheet and then a monthly goal sheet. And what happens in those weekly goal sheets, because time is now, I'm getting more details about what the team is working on. And all I try to do is just track it, because I might want to make a meeting to help facilitate some experience I have on that particular structural design or lighting design or surface design. So my folks they manage themselves. Yeah, and a lot of them work from home.
Okay.
And all I've ever asked for is just production. Just produce. You want to take personal day, you got a birthday, you got something. No one here at GPI has 2 weeks and only 2 weeks. You can take as much vacation as you want, and we get as much personal time as you want. All we ask for is that you meet those goals weekly and you meet your goals monthly and you produce. Answer emails, answering the phone. None of that's important to me. Just produce.
In the production, I hear you. And what I'm also hearing, Tom, is maybe your definition of goal and mine is a little different. And mine started out exactly like yours. I knew I could do two. Two was my goal, military background, mission first. There's no substitute for victory. I knew I could do two. It was two. When I started coaching, it took several months for my coach to get me to go, no, a goal is when you don't quite know how you're going to get to it. You may know 9 out of the 10 steps, but a goal requires you to grow somewhere, somehow, or find an answer to that yes that you don't already know. And if it's not one of those as a goal, then what you're really talking about is a to-do list, a production list, a schedule, and you're looking at, are you producing on time or do you need help to do a catch-up? Kind of like football coaching, are we ahead or are we behind at halftime? How are we going to change the team? How would you define your view of goal?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I understand what you're saying there. I think if you're asking what is my vision, I think I have a vision for the next 10 years. I would say that a goal to me, and from maybe from my management style, a goal to me is something more like what do you need to get done to get to where you need to be? Because these folks, I'm not asking them to have the vision for 5, 10 years here, right? A lot of these folks come from an industry where there's two earphones in and they're in front of CAD, and man, they got to get to a certain point by the end of the week. And we have deadlines, and we have to produce drawings, and we have to produce answers by the end of that week. So much of what we do here, and while I understand what you're saying, much of what we do here is just trying to manage helping folks get to that deadline. And we do it, sometimes with technology. Sometimes we have to get what's called a plugin for CAD, AutoCAD, so we can get like a 3D drawing done quicker, or you use the 3D to get the drawing done. Or sometimes we use a scanner we send out, and they scan the space, and our tech comes back and figures that out. But for me, at least, in that question that you asked, I thought you were saying, how do I get goals accomplished, or what is my role in helping goals get accomplished? And like I said, the first thing is to stay out of their way, because they're talented designers and engineers. And the other is just to try to help keep those goals in front of them so they don't feel overwhelmed.
Perfect. And thank you for sharing that. And I didn't mean to misinterpret what you were saying at all. I just wanted to make sure that the audience understood what you were doing. And that was production, and there's no substitute for getting things done. I appreciate it. 10 years from now, what's the company? Is the company, 1X, 10X, 50X?
Yeah, so it's not 50X, right? I think we're comfortable right now. And I'll tell you, Rick, I've had discussions with you before about, what's it mean to live a fulfilled life and a balanced life? And I love work. I really do. I've said my wife and I have 5 children, and I've told every one of them, find something you love. It's an overused statement, but enjoy what you do. Find a challenge in what you do. And then try to be the best you can be at that thing. And so, I'm done. I've said this to even some clients. I'm done trying to conquer the world here. What we've found is that our niche in what we do in this industry, there's not many people that do it. And to be a bespoke, a small bespoke company, so that's not maybe trying to do too much. What we are creating is really unique in its art. So to have a boutique style feel to our designers and our engineers that we work with has real value, because what they get from us is the same 10 people that they've been talking to about design and engineering. 6 of those folks are going to show up on that job to make sure it's installed right, right? So they're involved in every step of the way, because there really is a lot that can go wrong in backlighting surfaces and installing them. So the boutique style works for us. So to answer your question, I think we're probably 2x, 3x. That's
Great.
I want to be, we want to be around 20, 30 million. But what's more important is that we want to do about 8 projects a year.
Mhm.
And we want 8 real passion projects a year. So a total is somewhere between 12 and 20 projects a year. The 8 are the bigger format things. Those are usually with the biggest architectural firms and biggest lighting designers. We're working on a 4 Seasons in Cairo right now. It's massive. It's got the makings of a real portfolio piece for us. Those have our attention, and they're usually ownership involved, and the owners reps come down, and the principal level architects and lighting designers from the companies we work with are there. These are important features. And that's where we really enjoy the work. Now, where it has come in the last 5 years, we were doing a lot of backlit glass and really high volume stuff. And look, it was great revenue. And we still love those jobs because there's always a challenge there to defeat. But the boutique feel now we've done 3 residential homes, and these are not your average home, of course. But the owner is involved. And when we have a chance to describe what we know and how I know natural stone and what the lighting element and how you avoid these issues and how do you bring this to life, and then here's a controller that you'll be able to do whatever you want with this thing. We got applauded the other day at a job in Beverly Hills, and it was really interesting for me, because I'm like, this was a smaller project that helped us grow over the last 15 years. Now, we haven't abandoned those projects, but I can see, to answer your question, we want those large projects with the big firms. But we also want to kind of go back to our roots and stay with some of those projects where the owner's passionate, or it means something more to them, or it's in an area in their house, let's call it a movie room or something, in which they've always wanted to have something and we're able to deliver it. So, our growth is good. The growth over the last 2 years has been very good, almost too good. Like I said, we've had to hire some real talent to keep things going. But I want to keep that personal side and the smaller jobs, the emotional things, these things that people really appreciate on our charts as we move forward. So it's not really for me, and maybe this is different for most of your audience. It's really not for me trying to double, triple growth things so much as, we want 20 people in here. We want to do 20 million, and we want to have 20 times the fun doing it. So that, if that answers the question, we want to manage that growth, but we want to choose the projects that fit us well. We want to choose the projects in which we have a nice balance between, let's say, that commercial project and that more personal project that we are able to work for our clients.
Tom, your answer in that question that I asked, absolutely, to me anyhow, displays a business that is in harmony of business, in harmony of design and aesthetics, as well as taking care of people. I mean, blending it all together is absolutely, that's a secret superpower. Right. I really do believe if you've been able to do that for 30 years and you're still looking to do that for the next 10, 20 years, that's a superpower. And I heard it. And again, I'm a civil engineer by education, a business manager by education again, and then over 18 years of business coaching and looking at how do we take a business and have it work for you. And I believe you've got a lot of those pieces already. And your vision is, how do I continue to do this for our customers, for our people, and adapt and adjust the business to support your ever-changing personal needs, family lifestyle, and family needs. I applaud you for all of that. The greatest comment there is what got you here won't get you there. And as long as it sounds like you've got the pieces there to be able to continue to drive it forward.
Yeah.
And I applaud you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate
Well,
that.
listen, we have certainly covered a lot of ground today. And for those of you that are watching, I highly encourage you to save this, come back a few times, because Tom has really given us some great nuggets. As we wrap up here, I'd like to hit a section that we call rapid fire. These are questions that just one word, top of your mind. Y'all ready for it?
I'm
It's
ready.
really going to be simple. It won't hurt, I promise.
I'm ready.
Tom, what do you consider your key to success?
Persistence.
Awesome. What's one piece of advice that you would give to other business owners?
Find balance.
Super. What's one book that you're reading now or you've read most recently that you would recommend to somebody?
Die with Zero, for sure. I'm only 3/4 of the way done with it, but you got to look this up. It's a great read.
Absolutely. If there was one area of your business that you could take a magic wand and instantaneously improve by tomorrow morning, what would that one area be?
I don't know if it's improve. I'd like to reduce travel, but our reach takes us outside of Cleveland, Ohio. I've mentioned before family, and I mentioned balance earlier. I'm 57 years old now, so I'm trying to find more balance. Meaning, I'd like to maybe not be in an airplane as much.
I understand. Hey, listen, before we get to the final question of the day, if there's somebody in the audience that's watching today and needs to get in touch with you, or maybe your next new big client that you're looking for is watching you in this podcast, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you, Tom?
Yeah, we'd love them to go to the website. That's the images there, I think, tell a story, and we've put everything up there that we're allowed to put up there that aren't confidential projects, but you'll be able to see, the work that we do, the turnkey work that we do, from using surfaces like backlit art to fabrics to wood to acrylic and resins to stone, natural stone. It's all at www.gpidesign.com. No S at the end. It's gpidesign.com.
One design at a time. Got it.
Sure.
Tom, last question of the day.
Yeah.
What is most inspiring to you?
What's most inspiring to me is when I find a detail. Now, listen, family, faith, and friends, those are what's most important to me. But where I get inspired is where I find some type of detail that's really done well that the maker didn't really intend you to see. You know what I mean? So they're doing everything right, and they really didn't expect you to see it, but you still pick it up, and it tells you that there are people out there that take pride in their craft, and they're going to do it right whether you see it or not. And if I can interject one last quick story, it comes from my mom, who is an architect herself, interior designer as well. She used to have my brothers and I rake the leaves out from underneath our bushes in the front of our yard, and they were thick, heavy bushes. You didn't see the leaves under those bushes. And it was a chore that you were trying to get done anyway, right at the age of 13 years old. But my mom at the time was teaching us to do a job correctly and do it with detail and pride. So that carries over. When I see something that the maker or artist or an engineer or construction worker, whatever, whoever it is, they've done something, they've done it right, but they didn't expect for that to be seen. It just tells me that there's still a lot of proud construction workers and makers out there.
Awesome. Awesome. Tom, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your journey. And thank you to the audience for watching today. We've been inspired by listening to this interview, just like the rest of them. I think this is probably among the top 3, 4 that I've interviewed the entire time I've been doing this series. So please come back and see it again, watch it often. And folks, make it a great day, and bye for now.
Thanks, Rick.